Hey, good morning, everybody. This is First Warren Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Brad Petovich. It's October 4th, 2016. This is the morning update or vlog on what's going on with Hurricane Matthew. Let's get right to the details. We'll dive right in here. You can see the circulation made landfall in the Tiburon Peninsula here of Haiti this morning around 7 a.m. The eye filled in. You would expect that because it's interacting with some pretty big mountains and some land. The one thing I do note this morning is it looks like it may have wobbled back to the northwest, which is kind of key because I was wondering how long we were going to keep this north-northeast movement going on. That's something to keep an eye on. Here's another view, and I put the forecast plot on here because this was the earlier advisory. The center somewhere in here, and it looks like it is going to match up pretty well with the forecast here by 2 o'clock this afternoon. So it is likely going to weaken just a little bit. I wouldn't say this is going to weaken dramatically. The eye certainly did fill in, and if I turn off the plots there and I'll put on the infrared satellite, you can kind of see that the eye had filled in quite a bit, and you would expect that. Doesn't mean it's weakening dramatically. In fact, let me look at the forecast track. We'll look at the models here in a second, but let me show you real quickly the hurricane hunters because they are actually out in this storm right now, and I want to give you a good idea on what's going on out there with the storm, with the hurricane hunters. They just made a pass, and so the pressure is up a little bit, but to be honest with you, 944 millibars is still incredibly low. That is still a pretty strong storm, but there are some signs it's weakening. Unfortunately, did not weaken enough to really help out poor Haiti, because Haiti just got absolutely clobbered from this storm. So let's get back to those models I briefly showed you. This was the morning runs of the models, and you could see if you look at where the storm is right now, it's running a little bit east of the cluster, which isn't all that bad. It's roughly right in there, and it looks like it is going to make that turn and impact eastern Cuba later today. Now, they're tightly clustered all the way through the Bahamas, and then we get up here towards Florida by Friday. This is a real close call. The cluster is right in here. This is right where the track has been, and we'll have an update on the track coming up at the top of the hour. 11 o'clock to be precise. I'm not expecting much of a change. When you get up into North Carolina, here's a little bit of concern for us. The cluster or the mean is now making landfall somewhere in here. So you could see there's still some offshore, but there's a whole bunch onshore now. This is the most I've seen from the consensus models of a landfall now in South Carolina and North Carolina. And right now that area looks to be the Grand Strand up to the Wilmington area. This is the area of biggest concern, and if it makes this approach, you're going to see huge storm surge, especially right around area between Myrtle Beach and then going out towards Southport, the Oak Island area. This area in particular, if this would be a landfall, there would be huge storm surge here. So again, as we mentioned yesterday, it is now time to start preparing on the Carolina coast. You need to start putting your hurricane plan into action. Get everything ready to go, board up, sandbag, whatever you need to do. You can always pull back, and this isn't full go yet, but this is starting to get this stuff rolling, get that hurricane preparedness kit going and everything. As far as the forecast track, this was the advisory this morning. You can see the track on Saturday has it offshore of Savannah, and then out near the Outer Banks 2 a.m. Sunday. I think if we're going to see a change in the track today, it's probably going to be a little bit more like this. So that's why I think this area in particular, and again, this starts putting Charlotte now more in play. That was something we started to see yesterday. We started to see the chance of rain moving in. The chances for rain for us are now increasing quite a bit. I'm going to show you the European model just to show you how close of a call this is going to be for Charlotte. The European model is pretty dead on with this storm so far. This is Saturday night, 8 p.m. and notice the sharp cutoff in the rainfall. Really heavy rain here, and here's Charlotte. You go from nothing to something in a hurry. So a 25 mile per hour shift in the track, or 25 mile per hour distance, shift in the track brings heavy rain into the Charlotte, but also a 25 mile shift this way takes the rain out of here. So this is why this is such a close call still, and why I don't anticipate a ton of rain here. We could be on the edge of heavy rain, and I think for sure we're going to see heavy rain out in Stanley, Richmond, and Anson counties. The good news with this system's going to be moving quickly, so it's not going to be sitting over us for a long time. You can see it on Saturday night. We'll go into Sunday morning. Let me back up. This is Sunday afternoon. The storm is long gone. So it isn't like it's going to sit over us and soak us with heavy rain for days. This is going to be 12 hours and out. Now, as far as winds, it's still hard to say. I think in the Charlotte area, we're still looking at some gusts, potentially up to 35 miles an hour. The main steering currents haven't changed that much in the atmosphere. The little trough that was in the Gulf of Mexico has split. A little piece went there and a little piece went up there. That's going away, and it's becoming less of an influence. Now we're getting into this ridge. How much is this ridge going to build back to the west, and is it going to keep building to cause that curve to the northwest? That's what's going to start driving Matthew in the short term. Long term, here comes the trough out west. This is going to be the trough that's eventually going to kick it off to the northeast. So now you're in a battle between this ridge, which is off the east coast, short-term steering mechanism, and then the long-term steering mechanism. How long does this hang on, and how long until this starts influencing? That's what's going to determine this S-curve, and there's going to be an S-curve in the track. You see that curve? So basically an S-curve. You draw an S. It's going to be like this. Is that S-curve going to be really abrupt, like this? Or is it going to be a little bit slower like this? Those are the questions we still have and why there's still some uncertainty. But here's the deal. This is going to be a powerful hurricane, likely a Category 2 or 3 as it's approaching the southeast coast. That means high impact, dangerous storm surge, damaging winds, flooding rains, huge waves, maybe even tornadoes on the east side, depending on the track. All those threats are on the table. For that reason, even with the uncertainty, it's now time on the South and North Carolina coast to start putting your plan together. Go ahead, get the plan together. Where are you going to go? Get your property prepared for a hurricane. It's the time to do it. We have until Saturday. Again, the time frame, remember, just to back this up, the time frame is going to be Saturday for the Carolina coast. So you have today, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and even a little bit of Saturday morning, depending on where you are. So that gives you a good 3.5, 4 days, depending on location, to prepare. That's plenty of time to get ready for this storm. I'll have another update, and of course, I will post that track the minute it goes out right before 11 a.m.